I hope at least some of y'all appreciate my dedication to the autumnal vibe of a September TBR, because it's actually way too hot in the UK to be wearing this shirt today. But I do have to dress the part because we are heading into the burn months, and I am not one to wish summer away at all, but autumn is my favourite season. I love it when the temperature drops just a little bit, the knitwear comes out, and I can get around to reading, or at least I'm in the mood to read, a lot more atmospheric books. One of the main reasons I'm excited for September though is of course because it is the autumn equinox of the Magical Readathon. I've said it once and I'll say it again, Magical Readathon is my favourite readathon of all time. It is created and hosted by my girl G over at Book Roast, and it is an immersive RPG style readathon where you can create a character. There's different races, different places in the world that you can come from to attend a magical university, and your aim while you are there is to achieve your calling, which you can pick from this big dossier that G has made. Each calling has a selection of subjects. Each subject has a reading prompt associated to it, and you have to read the books, pass the subjects to achieve your calling. It's a D&D RPG style readathon. It's super immersive. There's so much extra content to it as well, like guilds and book clubs and extra quests that you can take up, but I would definitely recommend checking out G's announcement video for the autumn equinox if you would like to get involved. But also I will link a video that G made, which is a 101 to Aurelium for people who are new to the readathon. Honestly, I've participated in every round of this. I am obsessed. You will never ever catch me missing a round. And it's also going to be exciting in terms of the TBR, because instead of talking about everything I have to read for book clubs, anything I might have that's rolled over, we are mainly going to be focusing on my Magical Readathon TBR, which I'm aiming to mostly complete in the next episode of Shelve It or Scrap It. So you're going to get a little glimpse of what might be coming up for episode 18 here as well. But just before we get to the most exciting part, which is of course going to be talking about all of the books that I aim to read in September, I would first like to introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Ana Luisa. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Ana Luisa, they are a jewelry brand. I've been working with them for a number of years now, and I am of course a big fan. If you have seen me wearing gold jewelry, which to be honest, I wear gold jewelry almost every day, then with the exception of literally like 2 rings that I have, all of my gold jewelry is from Ana Luisa. They're a very affordable jewelry brand. The pieces start from $39 and they have a mix of silver. They do mainly have gold, but they have a few silver pieces as well, and their gold ranges from gold plated all the way up to solid gold if you want something a little bit more luxury, a little bit more flashy. And they also have a selection of lab grown sustainable diamonds. So today I'm wearing a couple of new pieces from Ana Luisa. In my ears I have the Ariel studs, along with, once again, more pieces from Ana Luisa. I love hoops in general. These heart-shaped ones are one of my favorite pairs right now because they are a little bit different in that they're not like a traditional round hoop. And then I also have an ear cuff because I want the appearance of having like a big stack of earrings up my ears, but without getting piercings constantly, because my ear piercings can tend to be quite sensitive. I am also wearing a new necklace from Ana Luisa. This one is the Leora pendant. I love how this pairs like the silver and the gold colors, because I do have some silver jewelry that I don't wear as much anymore because I do prefer gold and I feel weird mixing it, but I feel like having a piece like this that does already tie in the 2 colors means that I could pair it with both gold and silver jewelry. And I am also just generally wearing some of my older pieces, like the bracelets that I have on today, which as you can see in comparison to the new stuff, they hold up really well. There's a 2-year warranty on all of Ana Luisa products as well if you need that extra assurance, but generally as long as you look after your gold plated jewelry, it will last you a really long time. So if you would like to check out Ana Luisa for yourself, maybe snag some new goodies for yourself or a friend or family member, because Ana Luisa has such great gifting potential, then I would urge you to click on the link at the top of my description box and treat yourself today. Once again, a big thank you to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this one. So actually, before we get into my Magical Readathon TBR, which is going to form the main structure of this video, I am just going to do my monthly Inner Circle Patreon pick in case it changes any of the books that I currently have in mind for the prompts. So in this jar, we have a bunch of recommendations from my top tier on Patreon. Every month I pick one out and I aim to read it within the couple of months that follow. So I have been a little bit behind. I've been rolling over Patreon picks for quite a few months now. You will be happy to know that I actually only have 3 to go now, which seems like a lot, but one of them I think is going to be the first read of September. Another one I'm aiming to get to right at the end of September for a vlog, and that just pretty much leaves one. So for September, I'm not really sure what I want. Probably no epic fantasy because I already have a little bit of that coming up. I would really like something atmospheric or like spooky season related, but I don't know how many options for that we have in here. But let us find out what it's going to be. So I'm going to go for this one. This one's blue, which means that it was added this year. And oh, this one is Graceland, which is Vanessa's pick. So I feel like my patrons are really testing me this year to read a bunch of YA favorites that passed me by at the time when I was reading a bunch of YA fantasy, because Graceland by Kristen Cashore, we all know, is a very popular one, and it is one that has also been on my shelves for a very, very long time that I haven't gotten around to yet. Now, in my mind, I categorize this with series like The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson and the Study series by Maria V. Snyder, both of which I'd heard so many good things about before I read them. I used to know what this was about and I really can't remember anymore. So in this world, there are some people born with exceptional skill, and these people are called Gracelings, and our main character, Katsa's Grace, is killing. She's very, very good at it. One day the king's father goes missing and she ends up stumbling upon this mystery of like who would want to capture this old man in the first place, and this also introduces her to somebody mysterious who has a very dangerous killing power that potentially rivals her own. I'm not sure if this is actually classed as YA or whether it's one of those series that was put into YA because it was a fantasy like written by a woman, but I am excited to find out and see what all the hype is about with this one. And I actually don't think that this makes a difference to my Magical Readathon TBR. So for the Magical Readathon, I am once again going for the Calling of Demonologist. I did go for Necromancer last year, which was a little bit more difficult, but this year I pared it back again because I didn't think in April I would have enough time to read all of the necromancy books, and I was absolutely right. So we're going with the slightly easier option again of Demonologist, and for the Autumn Equinox, I need an O in Elemental Studies, a Q in Spells and Incantations, an O in Conjuration, and a D in Demonology, which requires me to read 7 books. Now, the episode of Shelve or Scrap It that we're going to be doing for September requires me to read 9 books, so I'm already going to be adding a few extra prompts from this selection that I'm not going to talk about in this video because I'm going to decide what they are as I'm actually filming the video after I've got all of my required subjects. And I think 1 or 2 of the prompts that I need I am going to fulfill with books outside of Shelve It or Scrap It. For one of them, I just have like a perfect fit that isn't a book that I own physically that I want to read, and for the other one, it's whichever one I get to first. I have one that I need to read anyway, or I might do it in Shelve It or Scrap It depending on how fast I'm progressing on with this episode. So for those prompts, the first thing that I need is an O in Conjuration, and the focus for this term is conjuring circles, and the prompt is to read a book with a circle on the cover. Now I actually had a lot of options for this in the stacks, but I decided to go for The Palace of Eros by Caro de Robertis. I have gone with some shorter books because I've actually for once got the opportunity to plan most of my Shelve It or Scrap It TBR in advance, and I know I need to read 9 books. I'm going for some shorter books but also a mix of genres to hopefully help me keep up the pace, because this one is a Greek myth retelling, and because of that I feel like it's going to, while it is still kind of fantasy, I do feel like it's going to skew more literary than your typical fantasy novel. From what I remember of this, it is a retelling of the Psyche and Eros myth, but I'm pretty sure it is a sapphic one with Eros having abilities to shift gender at will. So for demonology, I need to fulfill all 3 prompts, and the first one is Impling Outbursts, a book with an emotion in the title. So this is the one that I'm either going to fulfill with a book that I have to read anyway, or a book from the stack. So if I were to fulfill it with something that I definitely need to read in September, it would be A Time of Dread by John Gwynne, which is the first book in the Blood and Bone series. So this is the current book for Catch Up Book Club. The live show for this has been rescheduled. We were originally aiming for the 14th of September. The live show for this is now going to be on the 21st of September, and I think it is on Sandra's channel. This one is the first book in the spin-off series to, or sequel series, I guess, to The Faithful and the Fallen, taking place over 100 years after the Faithful and the Fallen series wraps up. So I have no idea what this is actually about. I'm going into it pretty blind just off the back of The Faithful and the Fallen, but this world in general is one that contains giants and humans, and in The Faithful and the Fallen we were dealing with a prophecy that said that two avatars were going to rise for the forces of good and evil, and we were following the unraveling of that prophecy as these avatars kind of like came into power and fought it out, I guess is the abbreviated synopsis of that series. I am very, very excited to be continuing on, especially to see where John Gwynne is taking this world next with pretty much a whole new cast of characters. So if I decide to fulfill the prompt with a book from the stacks, I'm going to be using The Brave and the Reckless by Dylan Dyer. This one is about a girl who drops out of medical school and her brother suggests that she joins him at a Wild West theme park where she starts up a relationship, I'm assuming, because I'm assuming it's a romance, with a lawless cowboy. So a cowboy romance with a twist, I feel, because I'm assuming that the cowboy vibes is more provided by the theming of the place that they work as opposed to their lifestyle, but I may be wrong. This is going to be my first cowboy romance as well if I read this one, so I hope it's a good one. The next prompt for demonology is Underground Habitat, a book with a dungeon, cave, or secret lair. Now I feel like I definitely could have gone through the stacks and figured out a book that fit for this prompt, but I feel like the obvious answer is to read a Dungeon Crawler Carl book for this prompt, am I right? So I actually have not made much progress in the audio of the third book, which is the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, in August, because I haven't had like as much time to listen to audiobooks as I typically do in the month. So I don't know whether I'm going to have that finished by the end of August yet, but for this prompt I am going to put in book 4, which is The Gate of the Feral Gods. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is a lit RPG, which means that it is like a fantasy sci-fi book that follows the conventions of RPG video games, which, I mean, reading an RPG book for an RPG readathon does seem pretty perfect. But this is following Carl, who ends up in an underground dungeon with his cat when he has to chase her out into the street in a winter storm and all of the buildings on Earth collapse. And he is given the choice to either survive on the surface of Earth wearing no clothes in a winter storm with his cat, or to go into the dungeon. So he chooses the dungeon option, and this series is him traversing the different levels of the dungeons and everything they encounter along the way. I didn't enjoy book 2 as much as book 1. Book 3, like I said, I haven't made much progress in, but I'm hoping that I enjoy it enough to continue on to book 4, and then if not, I guess I'll find something else that fits this prompt. I'm sure I've got something. The third prompt for demonology was actually one that was difficult to find out because this information is not always readily available, but it's New Gen Demons, a book by an author who is younger than you. So I just googled random authors of books that were in the stacks that I was interested in picking up until I found one younger than me, and the first one that I found was Mercedes Ron, who I believe is 31. Oh no, I'm pretty sure she's actually just a month younger than me. I think she's 32, but her birthday's in June and mine's in May. Yeah, her birthday is the 1st of June 1993 and mine is the 5th of May. So I actually don't know too much about this. I think it's translated, which actually means that this would be a good fit for a different Magical Readathon prompt if I were to get to it. Okay, so this is translated because this is a Wattpad story that was originally written in Spanish. So I might actually swap this one out because I do have an optional, like one of the prompts that I may use later on after I've finished my core subjects is to read translated books, and I do have them but not in the stacks. So I feel like I should leave this for that. So I'm gonna have to go find a new one. So I'm gonna be swapping that one out for The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. I believe that Megan Scott is 26 years old. That is the information that I have discovered. And I feel like this is a pretty good fit for the season. I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy it. I feel like it could go either way, but I do feel like it's a good fit for the season because it does have a little bit of dark academia in here. This one is following a girl who has the ability to kill paranormal creatures, but she knows that if her ability awakens, then she is going to be forced to hunt the paranormal creatures for for a organization that governs the supernaturals. And so she's been hiding in a university town, and one day a guy comes who is one of these supernatural hunters to the town where she is, and she ends up kind of embroiled in whatever mission it is that he's on. So this is from the Fairy Loot in like the YA Fairy Loot in May 2024. I am definitely intrigued about it. I hope it's atmospheric, but I don't know which way it's gonna go. The next prompt that I have is for Elemental Studies, and it is Stormcall, a book with water on the cover. I actually had a surprised amount of options for this, but I've decided to go with All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham because thrillers are such easy scraps for me. They're great palette cleansers, they read really quickly, and I also listened to the audiobook of the last Stacey Willingham book that I read and really enjoyed it, so I know that I can do the same for this one. As for what this one's about though, I have no recollection. Oh, this is the one who hasn't slept. So this is following a woman whose toddler was kidnapped from her house while her and her husband were asleep, and since it's happened, like, she cannot sleep. So I think the theme throughout this is that she doesn't know whether she can trust her own mind because she isn't sleeping, but she's also trying to find her son. And then the last subject I have to cover is spells and incantations. I have two prompts for this one. The first one is one that I haven't picked a book for because it is Charm Luck, and it is to roll a d6 and then I have to read a book with a length that matches the dice roll. So if I roll a 1, it has to be between 100 and 200 pages, etc, etc. And so I'm going to do that on the fly and see what happens. But the next one for spells and incantations is Current Spell Trends, a book that is released this year. So this is the one where I've gone for something a little bit indulgent, a book that I really want to read, one that I'm hoping that I'm going to shelve, and one that's a little bit longer, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, which I also think is perfect for the season. Like, this is given September or November read. The Fairy Loot edition is of course absolutely stunning. I am very up and down with V.E. Schwab. There are books that I love from V.E. Schwab and books that I really dislike from V.E. Schwab, but one of the ones that I loved is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I believe that tonally this is in the same vein. I don't really know too much about the plot aside from that I think it's following vampires and it's in 3 different timelines, and it's gay, it's sapphic, because the tagline for this was toxic lesbian vampires. That's all I know, but I'm excited to explore this one, hopefully as a reward for getting through the rest of my Shelve It or Scrap It TBR. So like I said, for that episode I do need to read 9 books in total, and only 5 of the 7 prompts that I need have been covered by Shelve It or Scrap It books in here. So the rest I'm going to be picking from my available subjects as the time comes when I get that far in the video. But also do bear in mind that this is all subject to change as well, because if I end up shelving a book instead of scrapping it, then I'm going to be picking from the shelves instead of the stacks, using the prompts to guide me. But this is what I'm hoping to get to. I actually think that's it, because that's my main focus. Magical Readathon is going to be my main focus for September. I have my book club book for Catch Up Book Club, which is A Time of Dread, and I don't have a Patreon book club book anymore because our next round, our next series will be starting in October. We're currently in the process of choosing what that is going to be, and I did DNF the Lady of Darkness series halfway through book 4 because I simply could not hack it any longer. But thank you so much for tuning into this one. Down in the comments, definitely let me know if you are participating in Magical Readathon, and if you guys would like to let me know that you were here but you don't feel like you have anything to say, leave me a flower emoji. I've already done roses recently. Leave me some kind of flower emoji for Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Once again, a big thank you to Anna Luisa for sponsoring this one, and please do remember, if you would like to get your hands on anything new and sparkly, you can go ahead and click on the link right at the top of my description box to peruse Anna Luisa's wares. But aside from that, guys, please don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, my Instagram, or my Patreon if you want to follow me on any of those. But that's it from me today, guys. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.